want to build a factory motorcycle. No, this is not a factory motorcycle, but what I will tell you is this motorcycle is probably the best motorcycle that you could build without going absolutely nuts on parts, triple clamps, and that type of stuff. Like, this is the best stock motorcycle that you could build, I believe. So we'll go. I got a list of parts here that are on it, and I'll try to remember everything that I don't have on here, and we'll go over some things. If I remember the cost, I will let you know. Some of these things I did not pay for. Some things I got for free from sponsors, or sponsors gave me money so I could purchase them. So I'm going to shout out those really quickly. Southeast Sales dealership in Milwaukee. That's where I bought this Kawasaki at. Great dealership, good guys over there. Please go check them out if you live in the area. David and Goliath Holdings, they're great people. Really helped me out this year with everything. And then also down there is D-Side Travel, travel agency that if you have a trip, please comment down below and say, hey, I want to plan a trip. I'll put you in touch with those guys, and they can get your trip all planned for you. That I get kickback from that, so that really help a lot. And Gaerne Construction, good guys over there. My dad actually works for them, so if they do big apartments, so if you need an apartment built, check them out. But if a home, they don't really do that type of stuff. But just go check them out on Facebook, or all those people on Facebook, Instagram, online are great places to get in touch with those people. Some other sponsors that I have, just on the bike, just looking because I don't have it written down. Pro Circuit, Factory Connections, Works Connection, P3, trying to think what else is on here. I got a lot of them, so I just want to say thank you to everyone that's backed me last year and this year. Obviously with the beta, then transitioning to this, it was a little difficult, but I feel really comfortable on this bike, and I'm excited to keep racing it forward. So I could not thank everyone enough. Dunlop is another one. I just thought about that. So speaking of that, let's just jump into the how to build your best motorcycle if you have a Kawasaki. Build a factory machine, as I would like to call it, because I look at this bike and I go, man, to me this looks like a factory motorcycle. Like, if you walk up in the pits and you go, wow, this thing is gorgeous. It's put together. It's the best looking motorcycle that I've ever ridden. So. And I thought that about the beta too when I had that all together. But this is just on another level. So let's start from the top. Plastics and graphics. So it is a Chirby's plastics minus the front number plate. That is a Cycro Stadium plate, because I like how it has the zip ties. It just looks a little bit better, more put together, and it is less likely to break off or flop off because of the way that Kawasaki mounting is. So I like that plate. Graphics are from Decal Works, so thank you to them. I don't get stuff for free from them, but I did get a discount. If you watch the Pulp and Mech show, I don't know the code off the top of my head, but they will help you out if you mention that you listen to Pulp. So let's down to the bottom, Dunlop tires. I run AT82 front. At 11.5 psi-ish. 11.5 to 12.5 is where it usually sits. Now, if it's over that, sometimes I'm not always checking it, but somewhere in there, I feel like that's important to know. That's what I like to run, between 11 and 12.5. It's like, if it's 11.9, I'll leave it. If it's 12.2, I'll leave it. Like, somewhere in there is fine. That's what I'm used to. Not even that it's the best feeling, and I don't know if I'm sensitive enough to feel, say 11 versus 14. I don't know. But what I do know is consistency, and being consistent is how you're going to get better. And if you always have the same stuff, you're never going to be off. When you go race, when you go ride, you always set it up the same way. Or if you test and you like something, if you continue to stay with that, then that will stay the same. Something that I did learn last year racing was nitro moves. So with the rear tire, both of my rear tires, I run a Nitro Moose. It's I don't know the size, the SKU of it exactly, but I do know the size is ending in 305. So for the AT82 and the MX14, which is another tire I run, because we have a lot of sand here in Wisconsin, I run the 14. So that takes care of our tires. The only thing is, though, is that I do run, it's over there on the wall, that's what I'm pointing over there. The other wheel that I run is a KKE wheel. I do know that it's a little on the cheaper side. It's a good wheel, it's a good hub, and it's a good rim. I just would check the spokes a little bit more often than, say, your average stock wheel, just to make sure keep up on it. With that, I run 52 rear sprockets, so it's stock in the front, which I believe is a 13. And then 52 rear, and those are just Tusk, and they've held up great. I'm not sponsored by Tusk or anything. They're just, it's just a little more inexpensive than, say, your Renthal or Mika or anything like that. I think the Tusk is around $45, $50, and the Renthal is almost $100. So this is just saving you some money. Obviously, we're doing this on a budget. Not, this is my life, so I spend a lot of money on this, but some people want to save some money. Then I just put on the seat cover, Guts Racing seat cover, not sponsored by them, just it's what I like. The Kawasaki seat cover is a little slick, especially when I switched gear this last year to Moose, and that's another sponsor that I have, just not on the bike. Obviously, gear, I went from climb pants, head to toe essentially, or from head down to Moose head down, and I just felt like the Moose pants were a little bit more slick, and that's not saying they're not as good. They're actually better in some areas. They're just a little slick on the stock seat. So I went to this seat with a seat bump, which is something that I wanted because I've been running a corner coach, which another great product. But the problem is you can't run that during a race. That's almost like a practice thing, and because it just slides off. I have run it in a couple races, but it just falls off. So I went to this, and I think this is going to be an absolute game changer this year. Works connection, engine plugs. It's got a radiator plug. It's got the oil fill plug. These engine plugs down here, as well as works connection hole shot device and radiator braces. I did bend a radiator on my Beta, and I was missing. I never had a hole shot device before. That is a game changer. It makes a big difference. No more wheelies. Had a couple of rounds last year on the Beta where I wish I would have had one. And every race I've had on the Kawasaki, I've had it. So I don't know what it would be like without it, but a couple of races last year on the Beta just had some wheelies that didn't help my starts. So hole shot device is actually a good investment. That's, I think, around $115. Now, again, like I said, a lot of this stuff I did get discounts, but I'm trying to relay the retail price for a lot of this stuff. So don't be like, wow, Jackson spent whatever. I probably didn't spend that. It was probably close to it, I'll be honest, at the end of this, but that's just the sport that we live in. Bar mounts. I run a Ride Engineering bar mount, and you would say, well, Jackson, why do you need that? I wish I didn't. Immediately, my first race on the Kawasaki, I had a crash. Now, I don't know, I'm a bigger guy. I'm not huge, but I'm a bigger guy. And my thought process is when other people might get hurt, I hurt things. And I think I bent the bar mounts. It didn't bend the bars, bent the bar mounts, and bent the subframe in that first race with a crash on the Kawasaki. So, and had a flat tire. So just freak things. So Ride Engineering bar mounts with the Ride Engineering elastomers in there, I think that makes a difference. I ran stock elastomers and then the Ride ones. The stock ones feel like a little bit more loose, and I don't like that feeling. I like just stability, and I like to have that feeling where you can feel almost every rock. And that feeling, and just let the suspension do the work. So We also have P3 guards. I have a front disc guard and a skid plate from P3. The front disc guard is carbon, and then I wanted to, when I built this bike, I wanted to show how good the P3 carbon, not carbon parts are. It's actually, I wouldn't call it plastic, but would be considered plastic, I guess. It's way more durable than plastic. It's a great product, the skid plate. It's got the linkage guard. I highly recommend that if you're not willing to go pay the $300 for the carbon skid plate. Pro Circuit, like I said, is another one of my sponsors. So the Pro Circuit, I have the shifter over here, the water pump over here. So it's got the water pump housing and the inner spindle. Now I will say I have not overheated the motorcycle one time, and I've done several races on it, hour and a half, 2 hours. I've done plenty of practices where I'm not overheating the motorcycle. I do run Maxima engine coolant, so that could be another helpful thing. But I have not overheated it, and I wanted to have that Pro Circuit water pump because I felt like it made a big difference. And then the other thing is I also run their axle blocks because I felt like the Kawasaki ones were a little bit cheap. They're aluminum, but I felt like they were a little bit cheap, and these are higher grade aluminum. They're a little bit lighter, which is not really the end of the world to me, and they've held up from everything that I put it through. And then going on to that, we have a DID chain. I don't know the exact model, but it is an O-ring chain. And then also is an Achirby's chain guide down there. That's one thing that I feel like on the Kawasaki specifically, you are going to need to change because that is a weak point. I bent the stock chain guide within, I don't know, a couple hours, I would say, and that's why I went to this Achirby's one. So I feel like that will make a big difference. Factory connection suspension, obviously you can see it's Showa suspension, comes on the Kawasaki, done by Factory Connection. They do great things. Had my beta set up really well. When I switched over to this, I tell them my age, my height, my weight, my riding ability, what class I run, that type of stuff. They make up a setting for you. But if you feel something, so say if you're on another person's bike and you go, I don't like this feeling, just tell them, hey, I don't know what your suspension is going to be set up as, but just to let you know, I don't like this feeling. So for this, I rode someone else's bike. I didn't like, on the 4-stroke, coming from a 2-stroke to a 4-stroke, I don't like the diving feeling in the front end, so I just told them, hey, I just don't want that diving feeling. They stiffen up the top valve a little bit, and so my bike doesn't have that diving feeling. So I do like that. Another thing is, I'll just bend this down, arc levers, and that they're just, the folding ones make a big difference. On my beta, I did bend a lever, now I was able to bend it back, but in the event that it bends and breaks off, I mean, you're out of luck. So, and that's another thing is Enduro Engineering handguards. Now, I'm not sponsored by Enduro Engineering. One, I like the way they look, and two, I feel like they're a really good product. I don't run the solid ones that go to your brake master cylinder, and I also don't run the composite, or I don't run the metal ones, I run the composite. Now, I feel like those are the best because if you hit something, then if you hit a tree, this is going to flex, and not your bike is going to jolt as much, I think. FCP engine mounts, you can see down there, here and here. That basically, I made a video, so go check that out. A lot of the stuff has videos on my channel, so if you're curious about any of this stuff, just look that up on my channel and check that out. And so down there, I feel like that just makes the bike, I wouldn't call it a more dead feeling, but I would just call it a less reactive feeling. Just kind of softens up the chassis a little bit, makes it a little bit more comfortable. I don't know too much about the turning aspect of it. They say it helps with turning. I don't really know about that, but I will say it helps with deflection and almost takes it almost feels like when you put them on, it just it takes a little bit of rebound out of your bike. That's the best way to put it. If you're gonna take some rebound out of your fork and shock, that's the best way to feel like what these engine mounts feel like. And they're also awesome. So they look awesome. So and then going down a little bit more, you can see down there the Pro Pegs, Works Connection, Pro Pegs, same company. I run the open cleat because in Wisconsin we get a lot of mud. Last year at a track called Mazamani, I mean, it was like potting soil. The dirt was packed in my pegs. It was packed in my visor. It was all over the place. So I went to those. This on this bike should help a lot with mud buildup. Radiator clamps, not something that is necessary, but I feel like it's important. Now, I didn't go with a company with these. I'm sure you could buy these at Ace Hardware. These are actually from older bikes. Is this radiator clamp style here? It's a style that you can tighten. Kawasaki comes with ones that are like you use the pliers and you let go and it tightens back up. So when you put on the pliers, it opens it up. I just feel like that causes room for error. These cause no room for error. If something's going to go wrong, it's got to go majorly wrong and not just something hit it. So that's just the whole bike is done up in those radiator clamps, and I feel like that's going to be that'll be a big difference. Just for longevity and minimizing failures at races. Gone through everything, whole shot of trickle charger. I don't know if you can see this here. There is a trickle charger right here. That's just for charging the battery. That was $10. I'm sure you could get one of those at your local shop. And then a twin air filter. Now I do run the stock filter, but I also run a twin air filter. The twin air filter is better, I will say that. It's not the powerful kit, but it is the twin air filter, and just the filter itself is better. Not more powerful, it just seals a little bit better, so I would recommend something like that, especially if you go to like a sand track or a track that is going to be dusty. I would run that. Just taking a look over the bike, seeing if I missed anything. I run Maxima oil. I'm trying to think of which one it is. But it's Maxima oil. It's the gray logo, whatever that one is. Kawasaki recommends like 10W40. It is that, but it's the one that's like Pro Clutch or whatever. It's made for clutch life. I guess speaking of clutch, I do run a Hitson clutch. Not full clutch, but fibers and steels. That helped out a lot because I was having some slipping issues. So that reminded me, I do run a Hinson clutch. Other than that, I mean, like I said, Maxima coolant in it, that makes a big difference. I don't feel like you're going to overheat with that. And other than that, I just take care of it. Every once in a while, you just change your fluids, all your fluids. Check your tire pressure, check your fork, bleeders. Just everything. Just go over your motorcycle, make it look nice, and you'll have a nice motorcycle. So that's everything. I know that was long. Oh, and I run stock gas, or I run like 91 gas. Like I don't run race gas. I don't do that. It's really expensive to run race gas, and I just don't need it. Honestly, I don't need the motorcycle to be any faster. I just need it to be reliable and rideable. And I feel like that's the best way to go. I know some gas companies have had some issues with their tainted gas, so I just run the pump gas and I've had no problems. And I just recommend someone like that that's either just getting into racing or doing this trying to save some money, because that's me. Although my bike is tricked out, I save money where I feel like I need to save money. So that's that. Got everything there. I did want to mention I changed my YouTube name to Through the Trees. Now, the reason for that is one. So JDR, my initials. 345 is not my number anymore, even though that is me. I do feel like 345 is my number. Went to 196. There's a post on my Instagram and Facebook if you would like to check that out that describes all that. But anyway, went to 19 because I wanted a 2-digit number. And so Through the Trees is the best name I could find out, and I really like that name. I wanted Between the Arrows, but GNCC already uses that. So Through the Trees is really good, and we're going to go with that going forward. And I'm super happy about that. And then, like I said, just check out the local sponsors, and they really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Some sponsors, I get a kickback, and that means a lot to me. And here is what it takes to have a factory motorcycle, even though it's not factory. My personal factory motorcycle, how about that? So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.